Alright, my friends, welcome to your 27th MySQL tutorial I don't even know what I'm going to teach in this tutorial. I think I'm just going to wing it. But in the last tutorial, what we did is we left off with inserting this row of data. Now, whenever we did, we explicitly told it that we want to insert an ID, a name, and a cost. But we didn't give it any values for the seller ID and bids. Now, by default, there are some times when you cannot give it a value and it's going to go ahead and just insert the default value, which was in this case 0. Now the default value for numerical numbers not the other kind of numbers, the numerical numbers. The default value for numbers is 0, and whenever you have strings of text or characters like this, that might be a better way if I just highlight the column name instead. Whenever you have text, the default value is null. It's going to say null, and it basically means nothing. Whenever you see the word null, it means nothing, empty, void, space, nada. So again, the default values for numbers is 0 and the default for text is null. However, some tables will not allow you to insert no or null value. Some tables are going to explicitly say that you have to insert a value for every single column. And if you don't, you're going to get an error message. So just be prepared for that. In the last tutorial I showed you guys how to insert only some columns. Just be prepared that depending on how you create your table, you have to or not have to insert all the values. And I'll teach you guys about that whenever I show you guys how to create tables in like 2 or 3 tutorials. But for now, I just want to warn you guys. So heads up. So what I want to teach you guys in this tutorial is how to insert multiple rows of data. So what you can do is you can just go ahead and type a bunch of insert into values and just make a bunch of those statements and insert them row by row by row, or you can do it all in one query, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So go ahead and hit insert into. I say hit a lot. Whenever I say hit, I usually mean type. Insert into items, and of course we want to do it the proper way. So ID, name, might as well insert everything. Cost, seller underscore ID, and bids. Now after this, go ahead and type the word values just like before. Now how I like to do it is I like to type the word values right here. And whenever I'm working with multiple rows of data, I like to put each row on a new line. So on the first line, again, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 items in each row, or 5 pieces of information for each row or each item. 1, 2, actually I'm going to use 1, 2, okay, calm down, take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, again, after every piece of information, you need a comma after every row, basically. So I'm going to add, I don't know, let's just say 3 rows for this tutorial. And my mouse isn't working. There we go. So that and this one. Now remember, after the last row, you don't add a comma. People do this a lot, and if you do, you're going to get an error message. So for the first piece of information, again, I think we left off at 103. We inserted like beef on a stick or something. So this is 104, and I'm going to sell some beef. Whoa, take it easy, caps locks. I'm going to sell some beef chops, my favorite kind of chops, and I'm going to sell these for $7.99. My seller ID is 1 and bids equals 0. Now my next item is 105, of course, and I'm going to sell some jelly pockets, my favorite kind of pockets, and these are $4.50 each, and again 1 for seller ID, that's Bucky Roberts, and 0. Now for the last thing that I'm going to sell, it's 106. And what do I want to sell? Big old sack of ham. And I'm going to sell this for $9.95. Quite the deal, if you ask me. And my seller ID and number of bids. So as you can see, basically the rules are quite similar to what you would expect. You go ahead and write insert into, and then you write the order and number of columns. Basically, how do you want to insert your data? So whenever you type values, each of these is a new row of data. Again, how do you insert data? Well, however you define it up here. Now just remember, after each row there's a comma, except after the last one. If you're programming this in PHP or something, there would be a semicolon right here. but since you're just writing this in PHP my admin, you can just leave it out. So now let me go ahead and hit go, and well, looking pretty good. So we can go ahead and verify this if we just click on the items table, do a little browse, sort by ID descending, and come on baby, no whammy, no whammy. There we go. So there's my nice beef chops, jelly pockets, and a sack ham. By the way, if anyone wants it, quite the deal. And no bids. So that is how you insert multiple rows of data. Again, I like to take each row and put it on a new line. It just makes it a little bit easier. Now, I want to teach you guys about one last thing when it comes to inserting data. To be honest, this is one of those things that I don't even know if I should show you because it's usually a waste of space, but it's information that may come in handy one day. So you can also insert items into a database, or a table rather, using a select statement. Now let me give you an example of when you would do this. Say that I don't know, say that you had a website and you just bought out eBay because your website's pretty successful. Now you want to merge your websites together, so you have all these items in your table, but they have all their items in that table. So are you saying that we're gonna have to hire some guy to go through and physically type like 1,000 or 2,000 insert statements? No. What you can do is you can insert data into a table from a simple select statement. Now, again, I only have one table items here, but pretend that we have a different table set up with the exact same structure named more items, and it just had a bunch of other items. So what you would do is something like this. Insert into items, and you would of course write how you would want to insert them: ID, name, cost, seller ID, and bids. And now, instead of writing values, which you would have to explicitly type each piece of information row by row, you can just use a select statement. So select ID, name, cost, seller underscore ID, and bids from more items. Now this more items table is just a fake table, so I'll actually name it fake table. So again, if you had another table, then what this would do is it would select all of the rows from that table and it would insert them into your items table in this order right here. So again, remember, whenever you're doing this, it's probably better to use a where clause, because if you don't use a where clause, then it's going to select every single row. Now, again, I don't have a fake table, but this is how you would do that. Basically, take all the rows from another table and insert them into a single table. So I guess it's good if you're merging tables. But otherwise, why do I say that this is not a good idea? Because at first glance, it might seem quite useful. Well, it's not a good practice because then you're going to have the information on this table and this table. And as we know, one of the rules in MySQL, whenever you have duplicate information, it's usually a waste of space. So guys, please, this is your warning. So basically, that's it. That's a tutorial. You may use this whenever maybe you're making a new table with your high priced items or your new items that you want to appear on your homepage, but generally stay away from it. That's my warning. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe, add me on Google Plus, all that good stuff. Send me $1,000,000 on my website, and I'll see you in the next video. In the next video, we're going to be talking about updates. See you then.